There is a word so ancient, so charged with divine frequency, that the earliest followers of Jesus used it as both a prayer and a battle cry. A single word that held the power to cut through despair the way lightning cuts through darkness. You may have never heard it spoken aloud. You may have never felt its vibration move through your chest. But today, that changes because this word was always meant to find you. Think about where you are right now. Maybe the waiting has gone on too long. Maybe the weight of uncertainty has made you question whether things will ever change. Maybe trust has been broken so many times that hope itself feels like a risk you can no longer afford. Jesus knew this feeling. He spoke to people who had lost everything: their homes, their families, their reason to keep going. And instead of giving them a doctrine, he gave them a living sound, a frequency encoded in the ancient Aramaic tongue that activates something deep inside the human soul. That word is MARANATHA. It does not merely mean, "Come, Lord." It is a declaration of alignment. It is a signal sent from the inner being outward into the fabric of reality. When you speak Maranatha with understanding, you are not begging. You are commanding the divine presence to manifest. Today, we are going to unpack every layer of this sacred word. Its original Aramaic meaning, its hidden power for perseverance, its architecture for rebuilding trust, and its ancient protocol for restoring hope when you feel you have none left. Stay until the end, because what I am about to reveal will not just inform you, it will transform you. To understand Maranatha, you must first understand the world in which it was born. The earliest followers of Jesus were not sitting in comfort. They were persecuted, scattered, and living under crushing Roman occupation. Their families had been torn apart. Their futures were uncertain. And yet, from within that darkness, a word rose that carried the entire weight of heaven in its syllables. Maranatha appears in the ancient Aramaic writings as two fused words, Maran and Atha. Together they form one of the most powerful declarations in the history of spiritual language. Maran means Lord, Master, the one who holds sovereign authority. Atha means come, arrive, be present now. But the depth goes further than translation. In Aramaic, the language Jesus actually spoke in daily life. Words do not merely carry meaning, they carry frequency. The ancient teachers understood that sound itself was a creative force. When Jesus spoke, he was not just communicating ideas, he was releasing vibrations that reorganized the spiritual field around him. Maranatha was designed for exactly this purpose. It was the word the early community prayed when the night felt endless. It was the sound they breathed when faith felt impossible. It was the declaration they made not because they had evidence of change, but because they understood that the act of speaking this word aligned their inner world with divine reality. This is not metaphor. This is the ancient science of spiritual language that the world buried for centuries. Jesus preserved it in Aramaic so that it would outlast empires, outlast persecution, and arriba era in tis. Moment precisely for people like you, who are in the middle of a difficult season and need more than comfort. You need power. The life application of Maranatha that most people miss entirely is its relationship with perseverance. We live in a culture obsessed with speed. We want transformation in 7 days, healing in one session, breakthroughs by the weekend. But Jesus taught something radically different. He taught that the deepest transformation is built through endurance, through the sustained act of returning to the sacred, even when you feel nothing, even when the silence seems deafening, even when every external signal tells you to give up. Maranatha is the Aramaic technology for exactly that kind of perseverance. When you speak it, you are not asking for a quick fix. You are declaring your allegiance to a reality that has not yet fully materialized in your visible world. You are saying, I know the Lord is present. I know the divine is active. I choose to anchor myself here, even when I cannot see it. This is precisely what the ancient Aramaic mystics called abiding. Not passive waiting, but active spiritual alignment. There is a moment in every difficult season when the human being faces a fork in the road. One path leads to bitterness, withdrawal, and the slow death of hope. The other path leads through the fire and into a strength that could not have been forged any other way. Maranatha is the sound that marks your choice to walk through rather than turn back. Every time you pronounce it, You are sending a signal to the deepest level of your being that you have not abandoned your post. You are still standing. You are still aligned. You are still moving forward in the frequency of the one who said, "I am with you always, even to the end of the age." Understanding these frequencies is the first step, but mastering their vibration in your daily life is where the true miracle happens. I receive many messages asking for the correct pronunciation and sequence of these sounds, so I have prepared 2 sacred guides to help you bridge this gap. You can find the link pinned in the comments to begin your practical journey today. Before we go further, I want you to know that at the end of this video we have a transformation protocol for you to practice a simple, step-by-step activation of everything we are teaching today. Stay until the very end, because that is where this teaching becomes a lived experience rather than simply knowledge. Now, let us speak about trust, because nothing erodes hope faster than broken trust. Trust in others, trust in the process, trust in the divine itself. When life has delivered betrayal after betrayal, when prayers have seemed to go unanswered for so long that you begin to wonder if you were heard at all, trust becomes the hardest spiritual act of all. Jesus understood this with perfect clarity. He wept at the tomb of Lazarus, not because he lacked power, but because he was fully present in the pain of those who had lost trust in the possibility of restoration. Maranatha, in its deepest Aramaic resonance, is a trust declaration. It is the voice of a soul that says, "Even now, even here, I trust the presence of the Lord." The word athacum is not spoken from a place of desperation. In the ancient Aramaic tradition, it is spoken from a place of confident expectation. There is a sacred difference between begging and declaring. Begging comes from a posture of scarcity. Declaring comes from a posture of knowing. When you understand the full architecture of Maranatha, you stop praying from fear, and you begin declaring from faith. This is the shift that Jesus was always trying to produce in the hearts of those around him. Not a religion of pleading, but a spiritual practice of empowered alignment with the living presence of the divine. Trust is not built by eliminating risk. It is built by choosing to speak the word anyway. Hope, in the Aramaic spiritual tradition, is not an emotion. It is not a feeling you either have or do not have on a given morning. Hope, as Jesus taught it through the very structure of the Aramaic language he used, is a direction, it is an orientation of the inner being toward the source of life. And this is why Maranatha is so radical, because it reorients you in an instant. The moment you speak it with understanding, your inner compass turns. You stop facing the problem, and you begin facing the presence. This is not denial. This is not pretending that the difficulty does not exist. The disciples of Jesus who prayed Maranatha in the ancient churches were surrounded by very real danger. They were not escaping their reality. They were inserting a higher reality into the middle of their suffering. Ancient Aramaic has a concept that translates roughly as the world to come breaking into the present. Maranatha was the sonic key that opened that door. Every syllable of Maranatha is a breath of that other world entering yours. The Ma, a resonance of belonging. The Array, a vibration of divine authority. The Na, a sound that grounds the frequency in the body, the thought, the arrival, the manifestation, the breakthrough made present. When Jesus transmitted these sounds to his disciples, he was not teaching them a religious formula. He was giving them a living instrument, an instrument built from the very language of creation, designed to produce hope, not as a feeling, but as a spiritual force that moves through time and matter and reshapes what is possible. You are holding that instrument right now. If this teaching is stirring a deep resonance in your heart, it is a sign that your soul is ready to return to its original blueprint. To support you in this transition, my guides explain the layers of meaning behind the first sacred words, offering you a path to clear the interference of the world. The link to access these tools is waiting for you in the pinned comment. There is one final dimension of Maranatha that ties perseverance, trust, and hope into a single living practice, and that is the dimension of community. When the earliest followers of Jesus prayed Maranatha together, they were doing something that modern spirituality has largely forgotten. They were creating a field, a shared frequency that was exponentially more powerful than any individual prayer. The Aramaic understanding of spiritual community is not merely people gathering in the same room. It is souls aligning their inner frequencies in a unified direction. And when that alignment happens around a sacred word like MARANATHA, the combined resonance becomes a force that no external circumstance can withstand. This is why Jesus said, "Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst of them." He was speaking directly to the Aramaic principle of resonant community. The word name in Aramaic is Shema, and it means not a label, but a nature, a frequency, a living essence. To gather in His name is to gather in His frequency. And Maranatha is the key that unlocks that gathering at the deepest level. If you are in a difficult season right now, you are not meant to endure it in isolation. This teaching, this community, this channel, it exists because the ancient wisdom of Jesus was always meant to be lived in connection with others who are walking the same path. Every time you speak Maranatha and someone on the other side of the world is speaking it too, something activates between you that transcends geography, transcends time, and reconnects you to the original community of light that Jesus built, not with stones, but with souls. That community is alive, and you are part of it. Transformation Protocol. Now it is time to practice. This is your transformation protocol. Simple, powerful, and rooted in the ancient Aramaic teaching of Jesus. Follow exactly as described, and let the screen guide you through each step. Find a quiet place where you will not be interrupted for 3 minutes. Sit with your spine straight, your hands open on your lap, palms facing upward. This posture in the ancient Aramaic tradition signals receptivity. You are open, you are ready. You are declaring through your body that you expect the presence to arrive. Now breathe in slowly through your nose for 4 counts. Hold for 2 counts. Release through your mouth for 6 counts. Do this 3 times before you speak the word. Pronounce it exactly like this. MARANATHA. 4 distinct syllables. Let each one land in your body. The Mar resonates in your chest. The Ra rises to your throat. The Na vibrates behind your eyes. The Tha releases through the crown of your head. Repeat Maranatha 3 times on 3 separate exhales. Between each repetition, pause and allow the silence to hold you. The silence is not empty in the Aramaic tradition. It is the space where the divine arrives. After the 3rd repetition, place one hand on your heart. Say silently or aloud, "I trust. I persevere. I hope." These are not mere words. They are your declaration of alignment with the living teaching of Jesus, encoded in the ancient Aramaic language. This protocol can be practiced every morning, every evening, or in any moment when anxiety threatens to replace trust, when exhaustion threatens to replace perseverance, or when despair threatens to replace hope. Maranatha is always available to you. The presence it calls is already near. Visit Divine Light Academy at the link below to access my complete guides and start your journey into the living language of the Masters. But before you go, I want to hear from you. What did you feel during this session? Comment the word restoration below if you felt a shift in your energy today. We read every response, and your testimony strengthens this entire community of light. Right now, before you close this video, come to the comments and tell us, what did you feel? What shifted? We read every single response. And if this teaching found you today, subscribe to this channel. Every week we go deeper into the ancient frequency codes that were always meant to be yours. We are just scratching the surface of this ancient power. Get ready, because in our next video, I will reveal even deeper Aramaic codes that unlock spiritual authority you've never imagined. Make sure you are subscribed and have notifications turned on so you don't miss this unfolding revelation.